Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
It's time to catch up with our good buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks, DNR warden, conservation warden for the great state of Wisconsin. Jacob, how you doing this morning, bud?
I'm doing good.
Dude, I mean, it's been a couple weeks, but a lot of stuff has been happening in the last couple weeks. The big one, we got a lot of trails opened up now because of the snow, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt there's more trails open than there were 2 weeks ago, but locally it's still kind of hit or miss. So if you're going north, if you're going a little bit east, you got a lot more opportunity. Dunn County's got some open trails, and there's some Chippewa County open, but you definitely want to, kind of like we talked about, is do your due diligence, and wherever you're going, make sure you know that their trail system is open by going to the county websites or, Googling that county online. And then another thing people forget about is like Googling or making sure they are aware of like the neighboring counties are open. So a lot of trail systems, you end up going through other counties and such. So you want to make sure those are open as well.
Has it been, I saw them on Facebook, like all the counties announcing, trail openings and such. So when you see that from your job perspective, I mean, how does that change maybe like a schedule for you, because you have to adjust on the fly with all the different trail openings and such?
Yeah, it's, it's part of the job. You're used to kind of adjusting on the fly. A lot of times it's exciting for us too, because, we have our machines, our state machines that we take out to patrol and make contacts with people. So it changes a little bit, but a lot of times it's like instead of going on lakes and checking fishermen, you're going to start getting all your snowmobile gear together and go ride the trails where it's busy and stuff like that. So not too crazy, but it does change it a little bit.
What is, now that we've got some trails open and such, maybe what are some general reminders or safety ones, or maybe some of the common violations that perhaps you guys see out there, just to kind of give a refresher to everybody?
Yeah, so the most common violations are always going to be licensing and registration. It seems like for any activity in Wisconsin, fishing, hunting, off-highway motor vehicles. So like making sure that you have your snowmobile registered to the, so it's good for this gear, as well as having a trail pass on your machine. Other than that, a lot of people roll through stop signs or blatantly just rip through them. So you always want to make sure you follow all the posted signs, whether it's a stop sign, a yield sign, a whatever sign, a mile per hour or a speed sign. You got to follow all those signs. But then something else that we generally see when we're out patrolling is just a careless operation. So when you're on the trails, you're supposed to, maintain a safe operating speed, as well as, operating on your side, the right side of the trail. What we see a lot is people, and I get it, snowmobiles are fun, and these new ones, you can really send it. But you see people on these straightaways, going across the intersection or coming up on these blind hills, just coming way too fast, which is how head-on collisions happen. Or on tight curves in the woods, people are taking them, they're overtaking the oncoming lane and hitting people they don't see. So the careless operation is a big thing we look for. Riding off the trails is huge too. A lot of these trails go through private properties, and private property owners get pretty upset when they drive past their field and they see a couple random tracks ripping off through their winter crops or off on their private property where people aren't allowed, and that's how trail systems get closed. So you got to stay on the trails as well.
Yeah, good stuff there too. So also, I know it's February, we're getting close to the end of February here, but maybe talk a little bit about some of the fish and game seasons that are closing up in a few weeks.
Yeah, so it's hard to believe because it feels like it's finally winter time, but a lot of the game fish seasons close that first weekend in March. So the first weekend in March comes right away this year, with Saturday, Sunday being March 1st and 2nd. So a lot of the inland game fish season closes. So your bass, northern, walleye, stuff like that, closes that Sunday. So you can fish that last weekend, and then it's then you're done until I think like May 4th or something like that this year. I don't know when it opens back up, but for sure I know, it closes that first weekend in March. There are other opportunities still in the state, outlying water bodies, and even the Chippewa River south of Eau Claire, kind of south of the confluence. That is actually a year-round season, so you can fish that year-round. But you got to be mindful. So if you're out on like Lake Altoona, after March 2nd, and you got tip-ups up, probably going to be in violation.
So that's coming up pretty quick then. Holy moly!
Yeah, only a couple weeks away. That's why when I looked at it, I was like, holy buckets! I just invited some friends to come fishing that weekend, and that's how I kind of put two and two together. We're going to do some tip-up fishing that Saturday, and I was looking at eggs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it ends that weekend. I'm glad I invited them out that weekend. And
yeah, no kidding. Like, I was actually just the other day too, and I know this is a little less than a month away, but I was like, the bonus tags for turkey hunting is middle of March, but I was like, oh, that's going to be, well, it's less than a month away right now. So
like you said, before we know it, that will drive this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be talking about spring hunting and the water opening up and this and that, especially with the weather projected next week. I haven't looked at the projections in a couple of days, but if we're getting 44-degree weather starting next week, the snowmobile trails are going to close, and snow is going to melt, and it's really going to start feeling like spring unless we have another cold snap. So We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no question. And that's the other thing too. I know there were some people saying, well, with all the snow, with the trails, how come maybe some aren't open? But the whole grooming process, I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to get down to the bottom and kind of rip up the ground, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's you need a lot of snow to make a good base, and you really need the right kind of snow for these groomers. So a lot of those snowstorms we got, especially around the Chippewa Valley, it was a lot of that light, fluffy snow. And when you have light, fluffy snow, it either blows away, or when you go to groom it, pack it down, it doesn't pack very good, and it doesn't pack very thick. So a lot of the trails didn't open for the simple fact of that you couldn't really put anything down. So there's some areas I haven't even seen the groomers out, and rightly so. And then I've still seen some sled tracks on there, and you can see them already ripping down to the dirt. So that's why a lot of them didn't open. It's just we got some snow, but it wasn't a ton of snow, and it wasn't the right kind of snow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Jake,
we really needed
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to say we really needed a big snowstorm to dump some good heavy stuff on us, and we never got that.
Mm-hmm. I've been seeing some photos. Is sturgeon still going on? Did they fill that quota for spear? Do you know off the top of your head?
I didn't check, but I didn't hear that it closed. Usually
okay.
I get an updated email, but I haven't heard that it closed, and I'm pretty sure the water clarity was pretty poor this year. I think they even had some registration stations closed because no one was spearing over there because the quality was so bad. So I would assume that everything's still open. The upriver lakes might be closed because that usually closes after a week or so. But I would assume that it's probably going to be a full 2-week season out on Lake Winnebago.
Okay. So yeah, I was kind of
I saw a picture of what appears to be the fourth biggest ever sturgeon speared out there this year, which was a whopper of a fish, like 180 pounds, I think.
Oh yeah, I did see that too. Didn't some lady get that or something?
Yeah, it looked like a woman speared it. I don't know all the details, but I saw a ton of stuff on it, and it I don't know what it was eating, but it looked like it just swallowed a smaller sturgeon before that. I think there was one almost as long as it hanging, but this thing had twice the girth on it, so
man,
good for that fish. Or good for that woman, I should say.
Yeah, no kidding. Jake, anything else before I let you go here that you want to kind of throw out there?
No, the big thing would just be kind of like we started the conversation with the snowmobile trails. Like, make sure you have everything right. Make sure you have your helmet and everything. We've had a lot of accidents and drownings with UTVs on lakes this year and stuff like that. So you really want to be mindful of the ice. But that warm weather next week, I can guarantee, especially around here, is going to close probably all the trails that are even open. because they're not in great condition. So if you're if you're going to go ripping sleds this week, and especially next week, you got to double check the county website to make sure they're open. It's a quick way to get a trespassing citation from either us or the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm. Good note. Jake, hey, we appreciate the time as always, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your week, and well, I guess kind of stay warm for now, but then maybe cool down later on, vice versa.
Yeah, no, it should be fun. I'm taking my son to the Monster Jam this weekend in
Nice.
Minnesota, so we'll have something to talk about next week.
Heck yeah.
He's excited, so we're going to go see that.
Well, that makes it even better then, too. So
Should be a good weekend.
Mm-hmm.